Martins, a very good afternoon to you, and thank you for joining the conversation this afternoon.
A very good afternoon to you, Mr. David.
Thank you
and
so
Mr.
very much.
Goma.
Thank you so very much for joining the conversation. All right, then let's start this conversation from the studio here. Well, Barrister, as it stands, sources says that airstrikes overnight, Tuesday to Wednesday, killed several persons in the key Eastern Democratic Republic of Congo, particularly in the city of Goma that is being controlled by the Rwandan-backed M23 rebels. Well, since taking up since 2021, the M23, you would recall, has taken swaths of the eastern part of the DRC. What do you make of these consistent drone attacks by the M23 rebels amid the conversation and truce that is being signed by these groups with the U.S. government, mediated, and of course in conjunction with the UAE, as alongside with the government of the DRC?
It shows that the rebels are becoming bolder. It shows that they are increasing in number. It shows that they are not afraid. It shows that the rebels want to take over a country. And it shows that the government is weak. These are all the indications you can see from that news. Where did they acquire those weapons? And who gave it to them? That shows that these guys, they are up to something, seriously. They are not going to stop with the Republic for Congo. It shows that they are going to make more inroad in surrounding countries.
But then again, Barrister, even with the mediation of Washington and the UAE on the matter, with, of course, the M23 rebels and the government of the DRC, and, of course, the Rwandan government, isn't this supposed to have gotten to the barest minimum of seizing airstrikes like this, because it's becoming one too many? I mean, this is one that we hear that the drone strike was reportedly to have fallen on the residence of a UNICEF staff member.
The agreement between America and the Congo government is to make peace.
Yes.
Good. And not to fight rebels. And that agreement involves taking their mineral resources for that peace. So America is interested in what they will make from that arrangement and not to fight your war. In fact, I will even ask them to go back so that we can finish ourselves. Yes, we can finish ourselves. Since by this time of the century, in this age and time, we don't know how to manage ourselves.
Well, again, Marco Rubio, the Secretary of State for the U.S., has said that whoever is going to be found wanting of not keeping to the terms of these agreements would get its sanctions accordingly. But with such threats, these elements are still striking in the city of Goma in the DRC. Is this a sign of the fact that they also do not care about whatever the U.S. government is saying as regarding this truce being signed?
I told you they are not afraid because they know the terms of the peace agreement. It's not that Americans are coming to fight your war. It's just peace, for them to make peace. And if one party does not agree with the peace, what are you going to do?
But in terms of the peace, Barrister, isn't this a clear indication that the government of the DRC also wants the intervention with the U.S. government as securing her land and her space from these elements? If that is not being done, that means also that agreements seem to not be faulty, if you ask me.
Look, I will even expect America to speak at this point. Donald Trump, the man has his hands full with problems all over the world. I don't know how he is doing it with American business. Right now, because of what these guys are doing in the Congo, DRC, the peacemaker ought to come out and then use the big stick, as they said, and then call these rebels to order. Are they waiting until they take over the government or what? They are becoming more uncontrollable these days.
Before I go to...
And that's why they should rein them in now.
Before I go to Kenya, Barrister, what do you think is the major factor that have emboldened this militias to this level?
They have seen a weak government. They want to show that they are more powerful. Nothing else. They don't want to embarrass the government because they are now in a stronger position, and whoever is backing them should be called to account. Somebody is supplying arms and ammunition for these guys. And the only problem here, the target here, is the mineral resources in that country, nothing else.
Oh, well, let me take this conversation to Nairobi, where we have Mr. Martin still standing by. Looking at the emboldened nature of the M23 rebels in the DRC, one would wonder, with the truce signed between the DRC government and the Rwandan government, plus, of course, the fact that it is a security for mineral resource a deal, allegedly, like we hear, should there be this level of consistent drone strike and airstrike still by these M23 rebels? What do you make of this story, Mr. Martin?
Thank you, Mr. David. From my keen observation on this full spectrum of Congo, the mineral resources is the key issue to the war that has taken too long. One thing is that the elite cartels have captured the mineral resources, and hence they have RUPO because the government is weak. The only thing government can do is to enhance infrastructure and the policies that will govern the progress or the operations in the mineral resources. Secondly, we have seen in the past events, the allies who are East African community, presidential of other countries still have a hand on these mineral resources. Hence now the escalation of antagonism day-to-day life in Congo. So the only thing the government is to bring infrastructure and the policies that will govern the mining sector, and which are governed by law of the republic. Still, they should ensure that that sector as an institution that has firm policies, so that the cartels can be hidden from the mineral resources. Hence, if this has not been addressed, we're gonna see this event taking too long to be resolved.
Well, again,
so, yes.
Again, you did say we'll be saying this event take too long for it to happen, but the M23 rebels have allegedly denied that particular drone attack on the building of a UNICEF staff was not done by them. And of course, they accused the Congolese army. As at filing this report, the Congolese army has not said anything yet as concerning that particular drone attack. Is there the possibility that the army maybe is also involved in the complacency that is being traded in DR Congo?
Mostly when there is this kind of antagonism, war day-to-day life, you will see what we call RUPOs in the government. Secondly, we have events of terrorism. Terrorism, when they find that the security system is not strong, they will have RUPOs to get their way to the country, and this is political influenced. Whereby now the cartels, the elite cartels have spoken about. They are the ones who are taking the advantage of the event. Whereby you will find that that there is this eventuality that has come across, like now the one of airstrike, that is political influenced through a cartel system, that I'm calling it elite cartel that has taken the system. Hence, hence they are in the middle of all the operations are going on the mineral resource. Hence, when government comes with a policy to bring United States over the mineral resource, to take over the mineral resources, you find because cartels are the key benefactor of this mineral resource, they are fighting that policy not to see the right of the day.
Quite unfortunate there, because I want to come, I'm still staying with you. And the question I want to find out from you, as a financial advisor, the economy of the DRC is not even doing well. Plus, this consistent battle between the government and the M23 rebels, do you think that in the near days, we might just see a total respect for the truce being signed between the DRC and, of course, the Rwandan government with the M23 rebels as brokered by the US? Plus, what do you think the United States, the UN, and the UNICEF can do to put a total stop to this infighting in the DRC? In maybe 1 minute. So we'll go to another conversation.
Oh, thank you so much. One thing is to restructure itself to address the issues that are affecting African continent, and as well the country that has no strong system of governance. In this case, we can see DRC Congo, the system of governance is very weak, and the issue is the minerals. You find the neighboring countries and the elite class, they don't want the, because the mineral resource sites are governed or are operated by these elite cartels. Hence, you find that the governance of these cartels will disorient any strong formation of a solid governance. Secondly, is that that policies should be put in place and the institution should be empowered, even financially, to be able to bring a system that will smoothen the operations of the mineral resource. Secondly, about of the economy of the country. Where a country is facing this kind of political turmoil, war, this kind of cartel benefits in matters of economy, you find that that fight, that antagonism will ruin the economy system. Secondly, you find even the market itself will be frustrated because now it is a system of cartels that has taken captive of the one of the key beneficial sector of mineral resources.
All right, then let me take this conversation back to the studio here, where, of course, Barrister is still with us. And I'm going to change the conversation because right now we hear that the United States is running out of patience with the South African government, which, of course, it has said that if not addressed, its 5 demands to smooth relationships between the two countries is not met, then, of course, Washington would not still be happy. Well, this is coming from the new U.S. envoy to South Africa, Leo Bozel III, at a conference that the non-response of about a year after demands were made was becoming a statement. What do you make of this as well?
If you make demands from a sovereign nation that will embarrass them, they will never fulfill it. I don't expect South Africa to kowtow to Donald Trump. He's talking to a sovereign state. It's not in all cases that you are right. The whites we are trying to protect, why not take them into American country? Yes, take them in if you love them so much. These were apartheid the promoters, and apartheid has ended. You still want them to continue to do what they are doing in South Africa. Somebody had to stand up against these infractions now. So whether he run out of patience or not, he should not throw any bomb there, because the damn man like to throw bomb.
Well, the concern again is the fact that the president of South Africa, Cyril Ramaphosa, did grant the New York Times an interview last week, and he did say empirically that the refugee policy favoritism of Afrikaners in South Africa was racist. A lot of connotations have been drafted around that statement that Donald Trump is racist. How much of an impact would that statement have on the relationship between Washington and Pretoria as we speak right now, Barrister?
I think the only thing that is controlling Donald Trump now is American institutions. If not, that man, they should check his genealogy, whether he has any relationship with Adolf Hitler, because their family originated from Germany. So, with the hawkish nature of that man, I think Adolf Hitler's father may have played some tricks here. They should find out, because this aggressive attitude is not in the nature of American leaders. Yes, in some areas he may be right to curtail the excesses of jihadists and all that, but it is not in all cases. That is my point here. It's not in all cases that you fighting everybody because you want to have your way and all that. Even where you don't need to, you'll be threatening and your trade war. Fine, you have succeeded in some areas, you have lost in some areas. But then, must you fight the whole world? The answer is capital no. Pick your fight. People will support you. Yes, pick it. Pick your fight, please, Donald Trump. Pick your fight. Not in all cases.
Well, the new U.S. envoy did say, Barrister, that that statement by the South African president in that interview is clearly an insult. Just days after he was going to resume in South Africa. Some have said that that's, defiance of U.S. demands a bold stand of sovereignty with that statement by Cyril Ramaphosa. Sovereignty as against relationship going down the drain.
He can say whatever. In fact, I thank Ramaphosa for what he has done so far. I think he has stood up against Donald Trump. Some African leaders will not. Yes, the man have tried so far, and that is because his hands are clean. If Ramaphosa is a corrupt individual, if he has access in America, Donald Trump would have exposed it to disgrace the man. That is just the truth. Most African leaders, why they cannot stand against these imperialist instructions is because their hands are not clean. The wealth of Africa that they took to America would not allow them to confront their imperialist masters. But Cyril has done so far. I mean, he has done good so far by resisting. Because what Donald Trump is trying to do here is to restart apartheid.
Now, looking at this relationship going down in a very sour angle, there is also the conversation about the AGOA deal, which, again, Washington just did permit a one-year extension.
Yeah.
Now, should these, which for a fact, that South Africa is a major top gainer when it comes to that deal, if these kind of relationship continue, is there the concern that will be raised as against the continuity of the AGOA deal? Or are we going to see a total shutdown like we've seen several shutdown on other foreign aids in Africa?
No, he cannot do that because AGOA is simple. African Growth and Opportunity Act is not for South Africa alone. So you cannot punish the whole of African states because of South Africa. He can't even go there. If South Africa is taking advantage, fine. Other Africans say, what are they doing? Like Nigeria. Because we have oil money, we are now lazy. We don't want to look elsewhere. So Donald Trump cannot do that because of South Africa.
All right, then. Let me take this conversation back to Nairobi. Well, Mr. Martins, interestingly, as we speak, this impatient signal looming on the part of Washington and Pretoria is of major concern. And then some are saying this might again breed some looming sanctions or trade restrictions on the part of the U.S. with South Africa. which again might just devastate the economy of South Africa. What do you think and make of this as well?
Thank you, Mr. David. There is a story I've ever said before about a story of dangling the carrot with the stick. So any country dealing with the United States, it has to be very keen and openness. Since that we have seen what they have been trying to indulge before, we should tell that these people have what we call so much benefit with the African soil. We remember last time they ended a long antagonism between the two countries. Secondly, I have seen President of South Africa as called the United States President racist. Secondly, I can say they are what we call imperialists. They are posing imperialists to other countries, whereby they want to take the control of the governance of our African continent. So the only key thing is to South Africa to ensure that they have solid policies when it comes to negotiation table, so that we can see that there is discrimination between the white settlers and the black South Africans. Should address the issue facing South African without looking about the ethnic groups, whereby there is white settlers and black Africans. Secondly, we have seen the AGOA, we call African Growth and Opportunity Act.
Yes.
That act is very beneficial to the African continent. However, the policies should be addressed. No, there should be even sanctions. We have seen United States bringing sanctions to some of the African countries. Those sanctions should be lifted, and essentially, when renewing that act, it should not be 1 year. It should be something that is going concern, because the West and the North countries are key beneficiaries of the African. Because you find the African is one of the continent that is so rich in mineral resources, but we have no foundational policies, and as well our African Union has not restructured itself to address the issues of economy and governance in Africa. Hence, we are finding a country like United States want to control one country to the other. We have seen the other day they were giving grant to Zimbabwe, hence they refused to take that grant because it was not addressing the keys and the legal framework was not in place. So we need Africa to stand out and to address the issue that is affecting Africa.
All right, then. Well, because of our time, I might just allow you to do 1 minute on this next story where in your country, because this is a story coming from your country, the government has urged African countries to invest more intentionally in space technology and data systems to better manage disasters such as flood and droughts. Well, again, you would recall that there was a joint breakfast hosted by the Kenyan Space Agency with a global partnership for sustainable development data. What do you make of this? Some have said that this is technology, if this particular move is genuine, or another prestige project that risk becoming the next debt trap. What do you make of this as well?
Thank you, Mr. David. One thing that is space
in 1 minute because of our time.
Space technology is quite essential. However, the infrastructure should be the key thing in our continent. Secondly, it's about issues affecting us is the monster in our Africa is corruption. Whenever a project is funded, you find that that resources or that finances have not completed the project because of what we call corruption. So those are the areas should be addressed, so that we find up that we have infrastructure that is addressing the issue affecting African continent in matters of economy, in matters of education system, in matters of health sector, in matters of energy. Still, when we see energy, we should come up with what we call nuclear energy. Nuclear energy should be given more resources so that African can grow in the rate of industrialization. That way, we can have a strong Africa that is addressing issue of unemployment and the issue of education system of our future youth.
All right, then. Thank you so very much for your submission. Let me bring it back to the studio, and of course, we'll round up this conversation. Barrister, these statements of investing in airspace and technology, of course, this call is, coming from a country that some have said people is battling with so much when it comes to infrastructure, when it comes to unemployment and all of that. Why invest billions in satellites when ordinary Kenyans still struggle with food security, poor healthcare, and basic infrastructure?
That is misplacement of priority. Because the ones you have you leveraged on them?
Big question that the entire opposition is asking, Barrister.
That is the problem of African leaders. Wherever they see an avenue to eat money, they will embark on it. What the man is after here is the money that will be donated and budgeted for that project. After all, they don't need it now. They don't need it. In fact, what are they even going to do with it? Because you have so much at hand. Why not finish with one, then you go to the next? That is how things are done. You don't misplacing your priority does not make you a good leader. Most of these things that African leaders embark on, they don't even see it through until they leave office. Meanwhile, the money is gone.
Well, some are saying that this is primarily to serve political image building.
That is it now. That is it. You want to, big project like that. When you hear the name, you say, this one is going to, just to bamboozle the opposition and the entire country. Meanwhile, you don't even have the intention to see it through. So why do you embark on it? What are you going to do with the data? You mean you don't have data in Kenya? No data, B? You have finished using all the ones you have. The unemployed youth. So you mean you don't have their data to keep them into factories and all that? You don't have the data. So these are just issues that in fact, it has no meaning, seriously.
Well, quite unfortunate, really.
It don't have any meaning.
This is where we have to draw anchor on the analysis segment of the midday news. And of course, because of our time, we have to draw this anchor. A big thank you to Mr. Darlington Goma, lawyer and political affairs analyst and commentator. Thank you so very much for being here.
My pleasure. Also,
Mr. Martin Sireri Njue, all the way from Kenya, who joined us virtually. Big thank you to you as well for lending your voice as well.
Thank you, Mr. David.
Thank you so very much. We'll take a very short break right now. All the news on the African News Plus, business and sports will be up next. Please stay with us.